today, former President Obama was at a conference in Japan and stated, if I could do that effectively, then I would create 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 young Barack Obamas, or the next group of people who could take that baton in that relay race that is human progress. Uh, and in reading those comments, I kind of became rather nauseous. And how are you, MLG Gaming and O'Donohue? Because for the last year or so, um, as former presidents tend to do, Obama's received a lot more praise and uh, likability in terms of just the views of those that aren't necessarily following every issue. And this was kind of something I spoke about yesterday. Yeah, hashtag bring back. Well, my problem with that MLG gaming is that we're seeing much of the same foreign policy. These drone strikes that go and destroy hospitals and various other institutions that are productive just because they happen to be in parts of the Middle East, which his administration and now Trump's thought were being operated by terrorists. So I kind of have this thing where when he talks about human progress, and I'm, very much recalling the destruction of human life that was under his administration and the current one, I don't really see much in the way of change, at least good anyway. I see the continued inhumane stagnation that's been going on in American foreign policy for the last couple of decades. Okay, Envoy says, "What's up?" Hello, Dirk says, "Listening." I appreciate that. And then O'Donohue says, "Fecal matter." And responding to your earlier question, the stream I don't think I deleted anything. I'm pretty sure I didn't. If I did, I'll go back and check and look and then do a press conference on the matter. But I didn't intentionally get rid of anything. Now, uh, okay, let me read MLG Gaming. So if you were president, would you change all the foreign policy stuff? And that's really a sad thing about me saying what I just said there. It does, when I make those critiques, I want this to be understood, it doesn't mean every single thing a president or someone in office currently or formerly did was awful. I applauded him for restoring diplomatic relations with Cuba. We've been their enemy, or rather, just completely not speaking to each other since the Cold War. He was actually the first president to physically visit Cuba while in office in 88 years. So there are good things that came out of, his foreign policy, however small they are. But we're talking about knowingly bombing areas which house children, whether it's a hospital or a school. Those are just things that I don't really give him any more critique over than I do for Bush or Trump, who had the same foreign policy in that regard. The lack of concern for human rights, the heavy-handed imperialism. Okay, Envoy, we're getting off topic. I'm gonna answer that in another stream. But and mines will always be ones that did things that were domestic. But nonetheless, um, his comments just aggravate me because now, thanks to people being sick of Trump and his various controversies and scandals with, Stormy Daniels and these other figures from his past, people have a higher opinion of Obama that's not formulated by what he actually did. It's just this thing of, well, stylistically, he didn't yell and he was kind of, soft spoken and didn't really do much to sound aggravated. And as a result of that, we're going to start seeing more of the same policies, but with a different face or person behind it. And that's my problem with what's being done here. It's that you have people who eat up this comment and go, "Oh yeah, man, if we had more leaders like him, more leaders like him is, or in some regards, what we have right now." Granted, there are a little bit more, chaos and controversy going on, and the system's running a little less smoothly, but nonetheless, um, this is something we still have in effect. Okay, hello, AOU. So I'm going to get off of here because I have other things that are going on, and I'll definitely have something out tomorrow, probably having to deal with Envoy's questionnaire, because it's actually my answer to that is very simplistic, believe it or not. Um, the solutions aren't okay. O'Donohue says the last three presidents we've had aren't very good. I agree with that. Um, ML Gaming says the president will actually do some good with America. Dirk says thanks. Well, MLG, you have to understand a lot of people think doing good means speak like this and don't use any swear words and just kind of, don't talk too out of the way and just, present this calm demeanor. I mean, look at the rampant praise that, the recently deceased Billy Graham had, where people were talking about America's pastor and he was the advocate for peace while he was over there advocating the Nixon to go and kill foreigners. But nonetheless, that shows you that whole thing of if a person presents something, but they're doing something behind closed doors that we openly are aware of, it's all right. Yeah, ultimate hit. We'll talk about that later. Um, Envoy says a lot of people criticize what Obama did for the African American community. Well, that's the thing. So I'm supposed to believe that these, new million versions of him that are going to come up are going to be so concerned for human rights when if they're like him, they're not going to care about at least human rights uh, in any regard. Think about it. Other than Obamacare, what domestic program did he create that benefited the supposed common man? And if we go to his foreign policy where you had humans being slaughtered like animals by drone strikes, it's even worse. And humans were being slaughtered like animals in various inner cities across the U.S., whether it was Chicago, New York, Milwaukee, and he had nothing to say about it. So you either get ignored if you're under his domestic policy, you get ignored, um, or you get slaughtered. That's his human rights. Talking, that's the problem. A lot of people hope. Yeah, Envoy, they were so over, and you know what? I'm really glad you brought that up because I've been reading a novel recently that has to deal with that issue. So I'll go into it in the next few days, most likely. So everyone, thank you for participating. Um, like I said, I'm so grossed out by the idea that just because someone speaks softly and, kind of seems as if they're nice, that's who we need to emulate. Not what they're actually doing, but what they appear to be in favor of. Him getting the Nobel Peace Prize is one of the biggest mistakes ever made by any group of award givers on a national level. So that's my view. Hopefully, this has been informing or understanding the people who've seen it. But I will definitely have something else out soon. So thank you.